Welcome to the Get Better Project, where your host Joe Bauer interviews the world's top fitness, endurance, and strength athletes to figure out what has propelled them to the top of their game.
Let's be great. Let's be great.
Listen, learn, and start getting better today. Here we go.
Welcome to the Get Better Project, where I'm excited to have five-time CrossFit Games 60-plus Masters athlete Page Lockhart on the show. Paige, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. I am super excited to talk with you.
And I like talking, so I think we're good.
Yes.
Yay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I've talked with all kinds of different athletes, games athletes. I've talked with professional runners. I've talked with professional weightlifters and coaches and all this fun stuff. You are the first Masters athlete that I've talked to, and I'm very excited about it because I think that there's a huge focus that our country and the world needs to be looking at or shifting to. So thank you so much for spending the time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Good. If I can explain what it's like to be 60 to you and you're not scared, then that'll be good. But it can feel awesome to be 60.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So let's jump in here and let us know, what is your background? Take us back. How did you go from, where did you grow up? How did that lead into all the way to where you are today and how you got into CrossFit, all that fun stuff? Let's
Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to a street called 11 O'Clock Road in Fairfield, Connecticut. Okay. Yeah. And there was where I grew up, and I was there for 30 some odd years with my family. And the biggest factor in me, I think, being athletic is my parents. My parents are 85 years old today, and they both still swim, play tennis, play golf, jump off a boat into the ocean. They are walkers. They are bikers. Big thing that we did as a family is we went skiing together. We actually owned a beautiful little A-frame house in Vermont, and we shared it with our cousins. And we were literally there for 13 years in a row in a tiny little chalet skiing. Wow. And we had family passes way back when it was $600 just for a whole family to ski for the year.
Wow.
Now, I think if you went to Killington and asked for a pass for the whole season, you'd probably pay more than that for one individual.
Probably.
But we were from Fairfield, but we kind of had a second home in Vermont, and we loved going there. And every Friday night, my dad would call me and say, Paige, time to pack up the car. Let's go. You're the packer. You're my best packer. And on Friday nights, I'd have to look at all the suitcases and arrange them in the wheel well so that there was enough room for two sisters in the back, two sisters in the front, and mom and dad in the very front. And then what we did was drive up the 3 hours to Haystack, which was the ski mountain that we skied. And we did that for years on years on years. So 30 or 40 days of skiing every season. And my parents would ski with us. I started skiing when I was 6 and my sister 4. And we loved it. It was a family activity, but it was a very aerobic and strenuous activity. Yeah. So we learned from a very young age, how it was to be outside, moving and doing something fun for the winter. And it kind of set us up for the spring and the summer was easy compared to the winter. And we played games on the mountain. We literally, my sister and I would go up on the T-bar. And then we would halfway, one of us would bail, and then we would fall to the next person, wait on the runner and wait until the next person that we knew would come up, and we'd try to hook a ride with the next person in line on the T-bar without falling and screwing it up and having the attendant yell at us. So, like, honestly, we would play games on the T-bar. We would go up the mountain and we would ski down like the Black Diamonds or the Moguls. And we really just enjoyed being together, but being a family and doing something fun like every winter. So we did that like age 6 all the way until I was, I think, 32. I stopped skiing. So a long, long time.
Very cool. Very cool. And like, did you continue? Have you lived in the same area your whole life, or have you moved?
So in Fairfield, I was there until I went away to college. And when I went away, I first went to Pine Manor Junior College in Chestnut Hill, Mass, which was very fancy. And Dad thought I was just going to go to a 2-year all-girls school. But I kind of fooled him because I fell in love with art. And I decided I wanted an extra 2 years of school after that 2 years, and I transferred to Boston University. Cool. And then from there, what I did was I majored in graphic design, and I was there for another 4 years because I couldn't accelerate. So I had the 6-year college plan. And while I was doing that, I was a resident assistant in the dorms, but I also taught skiing on the weekends. I would leave Boston University, drive up and teach. So I still kept with skiing, and I actually did ski racing with my sister when we were like 11 and 12. So there's a little bit of the competitive part. My sister, who's closest in age to me, she's 2 years younger. Mm-hmm. She's almost 6 foot tall. Wow. And she was very competitive, and she was the one that I tried to keep up with. Even though I was the older one, I was actually the more cautious one. So she would push me to try to compete with her. And I got a lot of my competitiveness from my sister Gail. And I still really look up to her, even though she says she looks up to me now. She gave me kind of the moxie to kind of keep pushing and going at 11 and 12. And then when we ended up on the high school tennis team together and competing there, she ended up, like, the coach partnered us together because she could see that Gail was the one that could light the fire under my ass and get me going to keep competing on the tennis court, because I'm the one that loves to have fun and just to, like, be competitive to a certain point. But she was the one that was like, we're beating these people here today. Did you know that, Paige? Like, let's go. Yeah. Like, you got to be fire on that net. And I'd be like, oh, crap. Okay. So it was really awesome to have kind of a partner in crime growing up. We literally did figure skating together. My mom put us in figure skates, and we did skating lessons. Then we did the skiing together. We did the tennis, and we were also on the swim team together. In high school, there was no boys swim team, no girls. So we had to try out for the boys. Nice. So the coach basically said, if you want to make the swim team, then you got to keep up with the men. And we'd be like, what? So we literally had tryouts, and only 3 of us ladies made it onto the high school team. So we had a lot of venues where we were competitive, and that was kind of like the start. Even though I didn't know it, I was having fun and competing, but it's nothing like competing in CrossFit. But it kind of gave me the foundation for loving competition and being used to being in it to win it way back when.
Did you feel like you were comfortable, like, jumping into competition and going up against the men in the swimming, or was it uncomfortable at first and you had to kind of break through something?
Yeah, I think we had to kind of break through a little bit. It was a little bit uncomfortable. We had one girl that was a diving competitor, and then my sister and I that were in the swimming events. So we had to travel around with the boys on the bus and go to the different high schools and compete. And if, she was really good in the 100 meters swims and the faster, and I was in the 25 laps of like freestyle in the long distance. That was my
Nice.
thing, endurance. So way back then, we were 6 days a week practicing in the pool, going with the guys to Dunkin' Donuts, eating like, a couple of donuts after an hour and a half of swimming
Yep.
because we were absolutely famished.
Yep.
And, learning how to compete with them and to get that third gear, find that third gear.
Very
So
cool.
it was all kind of like a little foundation, although I had no idea that it would lead to this.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point in your life was there a transitionary phase? Because you said that you skied until you were 30. How?
Yep.
30
Yeah.
something?
And then, so when my mom and dad took us to Vail, that was their 75th birthday. So they felt like at 75 that it was probably safer for them to hang up their skis then.
Okay.
And that's when I kind of hung up mine because they took us to Vail. And then I was like, I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I got into the gym. So it was a lot easier to train. And I started in strength training. So I was in the gym lifting weights and working, through the machines, but also doing a lot of free weights for a good 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of help from other trainers that were in the gym. They kind of took me under their wing. They saw I was serious and that I enjoyed it. And I remember one of the trainers at one of my old gyms was like a Boston cop. And he was also a bodybuilder. And he said, if you're going to work out in here at this time with us, then you got to look good and do this right. So he basically taught me from the ground up how to lift and how to work hard for an hour. And once he kind of got me like into a good training mode for like an hour in and an hour out, then he started with what are you eating, by the way? And that isn't sugar in your coffee, is it? And I'd be like, and cream? Oh, no. And so he started the nutrition path that's led me to be pretty much like on a paleo diet, which seems to agree with me the most, and to clean up my nutrition and help me, get to that second level, because really one thing has to work in tandem with the other.
Absolutely.
So I kind of went from the gym, and also I ended up getting my certifications. He said, if you love it this much, you might as well get paid for it. And I'm like, oh yeah, good point. So when I moved to Bridgewater, I ended up finding this gym here, and just Bridgewater Fitness. They had a million different machines, nothing state of the art, but still nice. And I asked for a job, and that was in 2007. So they gave me a job, personal training, and I built my part-time work up to about 35 clients. And then I did like 16 hours of personal training plus my 40-hour-a-week regular design job. And I was doing that for years. And like 3 years before, the owner of Bridgewater Fitness asked me if I'd be willing to take the little jungle gym that was in the back of this fitness center, take it over, and start CrossFit back here. So I basically was asked, and within 3 days sent to my level 1 to get my certification. I talked to just one other master's athlete that I knew, which was Elaine Polito, who I ended up going to the games with in 2012 and 2013. She was a member of CrossFit New England, and obviously pretty much the best box in the country. And I was lucky enough to be signed up for CrossFit New England to get my level 1. And she was the person that said to me like 3 days before I was going to go that you honestly are taking on a huge amount. You don't know anything about CrossFit, and you are going to be blown away. And she tried to kind of give me a heads up as to how involved and how in depth it was, but I had no clue. And when I got there, literally James Hobart was one of my level 1 trainers, and Ben Bergeron and Heather Bergeron, and the best in the business. I had no idea who I was up against. All I knew is I was awestruck. I was immediately in love, and I was immediately called out into the center of our work groups. They would split us up into like groups of 9 if you ever did the level 1.
Oh yeah.
And I was always the person in the middle as to this is not what to do. Like we only had the PVC pipe and,
Yep.
Let's show us your air squat. No, that isn't it, Paige. And I was always called out into the middle. So it was, 2 days of harsh training, and I was probably one of the oldest, but there were other people that were there that were about my age, but they were doing far better than me in their body positions and movements. So I had the rude awakening, but I think because I had spectacular people in front of me, it made me want to work at it. It lit the fire. It was like, wow, this is like I went into another, like a CrossFit dimension instead of like the Matrix. I was like in the world of CrossFit of, wow, I just had my eyes opened. I'm just blown away and I want to do this, but it's going to take me a year to get there. So now I had to come back and talk to the owner of this building that thought we were going to just snap our fingers and get this going, and tell him there is no way I can do this by myself after just having 3 days of CrossFit. I need help. I cannot coach this. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the knowledge. It's going to take me like 6 months to a year, just learning curve.
Yeah.
So he said, well, what should I do? And I said, we need to hire somebody else that can coach it, that can work with me to help coach me, and also help just the whole thing, put it together with me. So we went back to the drawing board. We put out advertisements, and we were looking for a coach to come in and basically coach me. And we were so lucky because we, again, hit pay dirt because we found a gentleman named Bruce Ballard, who was from Middleborough, the next town over from Bridgewater, who was a 27-year-old and was basically my son's age and was willing to come in and take the job. Nice. And so, he worked with me. And he worked with our community that we started. And we literally started with like 10 people that were willing to come in here, who were my personal one-on-one trainers and boot camp people, to like convert over to CrossFit.
Nice.
So I had people that had never done CrossFit before that were about my age, and some younger. We had like a core group of 10. And we started it with Bruce's help, and we grew it to a group of 40 people, and it was successful. And we literally, had to we need wall balls now, and we need bands, and we need a pull-up rig. So we were building from the ground up, and we just had to add things slowly, and it was very primitive, and certainly not state of the art. And I tried to coach, and would be very humbled, and Bruce would be on the side saying, Paige, no, that's not a power clean, that's a power snatch. Change your grip. And you know what I mean? So I had to learn on the fly, but it was probably looking back at it, the best way to learn.
Oh yeah.
So it was amazing because it was kind of like a very grassroots and very humbling way to learn. So maybe it helped me, so that when I'm always reminded when new people come in, how scared and intimidated and humbled they are, I remember because I went through it and then some. So when people come in for the very first time, I'm the person that they meet, even now when we do our on-ramp classes. So I think it helped from that standpoint. And people still say, oh, Paige, I remember when I first came in, if you weren't there, I don't think I'd be doing CrossFit now. I have still members that are here with me 8 years later that always go back to, if you left tomorrow, I think I wouldn't be there. So yeah, I think it's good to be kind of like that foundation for others, and also remember your own foundation and where you started.
Yeah. So what do you think it is that is, or what do you do when somebody comes in and let's say they've never done CrossFit before, and let's say that they are, even let's say they're an 50, 60, 70-year-old older population, and they're intimidated. What's your process?
My process is to say, look, we're just going to take it nice and slow. Did you bring water today? Yes. Okay. So are you feeling good? And you just get to know them. You stretch out with the PVC pipe. You start a conversation. You try to connect on just a human level, and you walk them through nice and slow, and you take your barometer reading off of them. And some people are very athletic and coordinated from the start, even though they don't know the movements. And some people are more in a deconditioned state. So you just have to kind of see where they are and adapt their first hour with you, depending on where they are in the athletic process and how well they move, and building up their confidence, like every 5 minutes, that they can do it. And
Nice.
that, and I use me as an example. I will always say, look, you're way younger than me, and if I can do it, you can do it. And we're just going to warm up with a PVC right now. That's all we're going to do. And then maybe we're going to move to an empty barbell, and then maybe we're going to do some burpees and some kettlebells. So I know you can do it, and just let me know if at any point you feel uncomfortable, or if your back hurts, or if you have a shoulder thing, and we'll just work around it. And that's exactly like what they do and what they experience. And once like they enjoy themselves and smile and have fun and get through like a short, like 10 to 15 minute workout at the end of the first class, then if they're meant to do it, they kind of get hooked. So little by little, you want to draw them in, and you hope that you've kind of given them a little bit of the CrossFit Kool-Aid, and they like it and they want more. Yeah. And they had fun, and they're safe, and they feel great. And you tell them they're going to be a little sore, and that in a couple of hours, please stretch and keep drinking water. And the next day you might feel even a little more sore. You show them a couple of stretches to do. And then you say, wait a day, and then come back and see me again. And so we have these elements classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we invite people to come to like a boot camp on Sundays, so that they get a little bit of rest, and that you just slowly draw them in. But you tell them the first month they're liable to not feel so great, but that's going to be the worst of it. And that the next month they're going to actually know kind of what they're doing. And then by the third month, they'll actually be able to read the board, look at like the program or the workout of the day, and understand what they're reading, even with all the abbreviations, and be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what we're going to do for my hour, and I'm fine. And then know that you can modify or scale anything depending on how you're feeling for the day, and what your how good you can do all the movements. If 20, like if you're going to do Barbara like we did yesterday, and 20 pull-ups times 5 is a little much, then we're going to offer for them to take it down to 12 reps or 15 reps, and we're going to offer that band for assistance. So we can modify anything to the ability or the level of the athlete. And once they know that we can do that, then they're happy as pie and they're relieved. Usually. Right?
Usually.
Right. Usually. Although there's going to be those things that are still daunting, like, okay, we've got handstand push-ups in the workout, and even though they're like piking off a box, they might still be like, oh God, this is just so humbling for me.
Yeah.
So
So how long have you been doing CrossFit now, Paige?
So I started in like really January of 2011. So it's
Okay.
been about, going on 8 years now, right?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. 2010 December is kind of when we started, and then it switched over into 2011.
Okay.
So yeah.
And how long did it take for you to go from, wow, this is something completely new, to number one, I love this, the first step, and then number two, I'm feeling comfortable at doing this and would like to be competitive?
So I was feeling comfortable about like the end of 2011.
Okay.
So when the opens of 2012 came up,
Yeah.
what I forgot to tell you is Bruce Ballard from CrossFit New England, then once we got like up to like 80 or so members, we needed help. And he had this as a part-time job too. So we invited Sonia and Jay Caldis to come in and manage this gym. And Bruce and I worked for them. So at 2012 is when Jason said to me, I think you should do the opens. And that's like, what? I don't even really hardly know what you're talking about. So that was my first opens, and he, really like encompassed as much or as, many as our community to do it as possible. And so we all joined in, and I was in the 55 to 59 age bracket at that, point in time. I had just turned 55. Okay. So I couldn't believe it, because after 2 opens, I think I was like 18th, like ranked 18th worldwide in one of them and 26th in another one. And he's like, Paige, we're going to go out to lunch. And I'm like, what? And so we went across the street and we went to lunch, and he goes, listen, I think you could actually like make it to the games. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you got 3 more workouts, and I think you could do it. So you're going to pay attention to what I'm saying. You're going to give it your all, and you're going to see where you land. So we worked really hard. And at that point in 2012, you qualified if you were the top 20 just from those 5 opens workout. You didn't have the online qualifier at that point. So sure enough, I made it after the 2012. We were absolutely ecstatic. We were jumping up and down. It was like, I didn't even know what I was getting into, actually. I had no idea what I had really pulled off. And that first year we went to the games, and Elaine Polito made it too. So I had another person that was a teammate that got to go with me.
Nice.
And she had already been to the ranch. She had already made it like in 2009, and she had started with CrossFit New England. So she already knew and was kind of coaching me and, kind of giving me the lay of the land of what was going to happen. But like when you actually go, you don't know until you're there how amazing you feel and how grateful and how privileged, but then how much they made us feel like a freaking rock star. I mean, you're going there, you're in, LA, and they give you a lanyard with your name on it that lets you go everywhere that you want in the whole, the whole setup. And there's lines and people cheering, and you get to just use your lanyard and cut like through like hundreds of people and go like right in the front door. And you're like, what? And they just usher you on through. And then you get to go to the athletics, tent that they had, and it's all AC and snacks galore, and, all these people that you recognize from watching CrossFit. You're just walking by to go to the ladies' room, and there's like Annie Thor's daughter, and like she's just waving at you. You're like, what has happened? Like it's really amazing. Like I think like I was a kid in a candy shop that first year. I took it all in. I loved it. I was with amazing people. I was so thrilled to be there. And the girls that, are your top 20 with you, you're just immediately so happy. You've been watching them on the leaderboard, you know, for like the 6 weeks, and now you get to put the name with the face and make friends with them, and they're even cooler and more badass than you ever thought, and now you want to, like, you know, like take them home with you, but like, you know what I mean? And they're from far away, they're from all over the world, and your mind is blown. And now you've been talking and you're Facebook friends with them, and now you have friends that are all around the world. So, I mean, what is better than that? Badass women, 55 plus, that look like they're 40, 45, and they snatch 80 pounds over their head. What? Like, you know, back then that was cool. Now us as 60, we need to snatch 80 over our head, but that's neither here nor there. It just gets more challenging, but it was very cool to meet them all. And you had such admiration for all of the athletes, and especially for all the 40 plus people. And can I just say that the 40 to 44 men, they were so gorgeous. I was like, oh, I'm single. I just wish, like, you know, like, my battery. Hold on. So my battery is low. I'm going to have to plug in over here.
Okay.
Did I lose you?
Nope, we're still here.
Okay. So it was just amazing being there. And I loved every minute of it. And like I said, I'm so impressed with the whole community of athletes that we get to be with. So, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Now I'm good. Okay.
Cool. So that was in 2012, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now we're in 2019. How have, and you've made it to the games 5 times. How have your goals, what are your goals now? And how have they shifted? Like, you know, at what point were you like, oh, cool, I can make it. I can be in this group of people. And then you've made it to the games so many times. And what do your goals look like now?
So I think it was 2014 when they changed to the online qualifier, and it became a lot harder they made the workouts harder. I thought they were more challenging. The weights were starting to go up, the gymnastics and the skill level going up. And it's just kept going that way ever since. I mean, 2014, when we got to the games, we were handstand walking in 5-foot increments on the grass with tape. And we were like mortified that was happening, but we were doing our best. Now it's almost like you really need to be able to walk on your hands if you think you're even getting to the games. So last year came to the realization that I needed to at least get a 5-foot walk. And we worked on it. It was really hard, but we did it. And you really have to, like for me, I had to face my worst fear. And I remember yelling at my son in the kitchen saying, and now they want us to handstand walk. Like, really? Like, you know, I just can't even believe it. Like, this is just the worst nightmare come true. How am I going to do this? And he's like, because Mom, then that means you got to do it. Like, what's your problem about it? What are you afraid of doing? You've done everything else. So you got to set your mind to it, that you can do it, that you can learn it, and that you can do it. And I remember brushing my teeth that morning of the online qualifier and looking at myself in the mirror and saying, we are walking at least that 5-foot increment, and you can do it. You practiced it. And it's scary, but you'll have spotters there. They won't let you fall on your back. And so you got nothing to worry about. So it's really giving yourself over in complete trust to the people that I've been so fortunate to have here. My Sonia and Jay and Jim and some of the people that are here at this community, I'm going to get emotional. Ooh, they are second to none. And honestly, I couldn't have done it. And I'm sure that any master's athlete going through what I go through, they have to go through, like you get to a place where there's a wall, whether it's rings or handstand push-ups, RX, you have to give over yourself and listen intently and work super hard to go beyond your fear to get to the other place where you can physically execute what's being asked of you. And it's hard. And I know some masters people have like a special gymnastics coach, or maybe they have Olympic lifting coach. Here I've mostly just had Sonia and Jay, and then as of last year I've had Jim Rago, who's worked for 9 years and Olympic lifting coach, and Elaine, who's been an amazing teammate. The support is everything. And I think having the expertise, I can't say enough about it. And I think that's been the make or break for me, is believing in those people, believing the actual words coming out of their mouth, and having them say, I believe in you, and this is what you need to do to get there. And then you have to give 200%. 200% of you has to go into doing it and believing in yourself and believing in what they're saying, and then putting in the time and then putting in the work. So, I know because you're probably an amazing athlete yourself, and that you, in order to do your handstand walking, you probably spent a lot of time and effort and, worked on it and fell and tipped over and, fell and tipped over until finally you would get it.
Yep.
And it takes a lot of courage to come back after you just keep falling.
Yep.
And I know, like, I pulled my hamstring like a little bit after I did the online qualifier, and I had to, like, in between the online qualifier and the games, I had to kind of go back and take it easy and build my hamstring back and go to physical therapy and work at getting the strength back. But it was just a very small injury. And here we go at the games. They had handstand walking, not just 5 foot, but 10 foot. So again, every time you think like I can do something for 5 foot, they're going to raise the bar, when you get there. And we didn't know that, but I remember sitting on the bench the night before, and they announced to us, okay, so your handstand walking is 4 minutes. And we were like, oh, cool. We just have to flip upside down for 4 minutes. We're good. Just look good doing it. Wave to the crowd. And then the next thing was, okay, so the first increment is 10 foot. The next increment is 15. And the next one is 17. And we all went, what? And and there was just handstand walking and I believe wall balls. So there were only, out of the 20 of us, I think there was just 5 ladies that were able to walk 10 foot or more. So that's the new goal for this year, is to be able to walk 10 foot. And I'm going to give it, my absolute best, like whatever I can do to do it. I want to do it. I mean, it's even scarier, 10 foot. But you know what? Like, if I could do something like that, I'd be so proud of myself. And what have I got to lose? I can get the mats out. I can get spotters. I can have them promise me that they won't let me flip over on my back. I can look at all the progressions online. I can listen to what all the coaches say, and I know I can get there. Yeah. So that's my next goal.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's dig into some of your training right now, because I know that a lot of people are probably wondering. So the first question on the training is, how much time do you spend training per day and per week?
Okay. So right now I'm following along with the programming that we are all doing here at CrossFit Bridgewater. I had a long talk with Sonia, and last year after the qualifier, we switched over and we went on to the comp train track.
Okay.
Ben's and Harry's beautiful track there, and a lot of the masters athletes follow it, and it is a lot of volume. It's spectacular. I would recommend it for anyone that wants to get to the games or wants to improve. But it's so much volume that we decided we're going to get to the open and see how we do at the open, and then switch over to that track afterwards, depending on where the open standings are. But for right now, we're kind of running parallel to what they're doing in comp train. Sonia can look at comp train and kind of program for us, keeping like what they're doing in mind, like, a volume of strength, and then switching over to gymnastics, and then switching over to engine work. So we're kind of following along parallel, but we're doing our own thing, and we're adding endurance to it. So what we do is about an hour and a half in the morning, I train, and then sometimes on Friday or Saturday, I'll do like a double session. Mostly on Saturday, I'll definitely be doing a double session, and Sunday, a longer session with Olympic lifting when I can. So I'll always work out 5 days a week at 7:30 in the morning. And then I'll come back at night and do either accessory or a second workout a couple of days a week. And then on Sundays, I'll sometimes do Olympic lifting as, again, secondary, mostly drills and not like heavy lifting, but more drill and barbell path work. So I know I'm jumping around, but I try not to do like 2 hours. Like comp train is a good hour and a half to 2 hours of work. And sometimes you can't get it even all done in one morning unless you woke up like at 6 and was here at 6:30 and worked till 8:30. And then I got to be at my job at 9. So that's just too much for me. And I think that's to my point, which I want to raise next, is sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And I know it's a big mouthful, but I think working smart, working hard while you're in here and pushing yourself. And it's not like how long you work. It's like how intense you work when you're here and getting the most out of it. And also, the older we get, the more I feel my recovery, my nutrition, and my sleep is super important. So I feel like me doing well and being successful is as much gauged on my 8 hours sleep, my 4 bottles of water, my branched chain amino acids, my Lurong, my taking care of myself, and even taking care of myself on my full-time job. I am super lucky to work with a company that I love too, and my physical work that I do in the gym is very complementary to my design work where I have to sit in a chair and actually be still and quiet. But in a way, I'm thinking with my mind, but I'm resting my body. Right. At work, I'm resting. I'm drinking lots of fluids. I'm eating lots of snacks. I'm, like trying to fuel super like charge and recharge. Even though I'm just using my brain, I'm pouring my heart out with my creativity, but I'm refueling. Like I'm at the gas station. I am pumping up. Boom, boom. Every 2 hours, I'm doing something good for my body, and I'm paying no attention to the people at work eating candy and eating donuts. And there's cookies in the break room. No, that is not me. I am got my blinders on. I'm refueling so I can hit it hard again in the gym. And I'm loving the way I feel, because when I come in, I'm rested, I'm ready to go, I'm listening, I'm all ears with whoever's in front of me coaching, and I'm enjoying that part of my day the most. Soaking it all in, and then going home again, refueling and trying to get to bed early and looking at that workout and being pumped up for what I'm going to do the next day and really looking forward to it. So I think it's recovery and refuel and re-energize, and then think about like, okay, it's almost game time. You can't come in here and just putz around. You got to push yourself. Pretend clock is going off and it means something. 3, 2, 1, go is, oh crap, Carol and Marcy are right behind me, and they're on the same rep I am. Let's go. And a lot of times my coach will say, Carol's right next to you and she's got 2 more toes to bar. So let's go. And that does it, because like those are real people. Those people that are at the games, they are so competitive, and they're the ones that you're competing against all year. And you got to picture them being right like on your ass in order for you to push yourself. And
Totally.
that's right. And when I'm out there running, they're like, hurry up, Carol's gaining on you. Carol Lynn Thistle, by the way, is awesome. She's the other CrossFit Games athlete that's made it 2 years in a row to the CrossFit Games, and she's from Spencer Hendel's CrossFit gym, Reebok Medfield, and I have the utmost respect, and I admire her, and she's like a really good friend, and we text all year long.
Nice.
Are you swimming yet? In the pool. We're in the pool. Okay, we're outside. We're outside now. We're swimming in the deep water. So we always compare notes, and even though we don't always work out very much together, we think a lot alike, and it's kind of like you have someone to commiserate with all year long, and she's like Massachusetts. So yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Paige, it doesn't seem like your training and your lifestyle is that much different than these other younger athletes as far as like the amount of time that you spend doing these things. So if you were to look at, either the 30-year-old version of yourself or the 30-year-old version of one of these other games athletes, where would you really like pinpoint the difference is?
I think, someone like Danny Horan, she is another athlete that I admire a lot. And I think she's got a very, very hard work ethic. And I try to, I would love to emulate like what she does. And I know she'll like work out like 4 hours a day. My body just can't do that. So I have to just be more efficient in the time that I do work out. Okay. So I have like an hour and a half of working out, and then sometimes I have accessory work. So one day I'll concentrate on gymnastics. Another day I'll maybe just be working out in the gym for strength, and I'll be bench pressing. Another day I'll just be with Coach Jim doing Olympic lifting. So I'd say the less is more thing is the difference. And then I think also the taking care of myself and really listening and being in tune to how you feel. Okay. So if, say, my lower back is stiff because we did Diane, then I'm going to spend more time with my yoga wheel and my foam roller, and I'm going to try to do more mobility, and I'm going to, really like hit my water and try to take care of like how your body is feeling. And I think like that's the difference, where you've had 30 years or however old you are of being in your body. I've had 60. Yep. So like, I feel like I know my body better than you know your body. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I'm saying like I've had 30 more years of experience being in it. So sure. I know when to back off and when to push. And even though sometimes my coach will say, come on, you got to pour it on, I'll say, you know what? My back feels a little stiff from the deadlifts, so I'm going to back off 10 pounds today on that clean and jerk, and that's why. So I feel like I can be kind of like cautious and use my own defense mechanisms when I feel like I need to, But then also when I'm feeling like the barbell is super light, then I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to do, a Grace workout and see if I can do 30 clean and jerks and beat my time. So, when you feel great, then you're brave. And when you feel like you need to be a little bit more cautious, then you just back off a little. So, I think you young people, you have the ability to kind of push and maybe not worry about it as much. For me, knock on wood, I'm not as injury prone as to some of my counter, points or counter people are. I'm not a person that shows up to the CrossFit Games with a lot of kinesiology tape on me and stuff. I am pretty well together, but it's because I've spent years in this body taking care of it, and I don't want to screw it up. So I just try to take the absolute best care of myself that I can. And I don't mean it by my hair and my nails. I mean it you know what I mean? I want to make sure I'm taking care from the inside out. And
Yep.
so I'm also have to say that Elaine always preached mobility and always preached the supple leopard. And I can't say enough about what that does to improve your lifts and improve your strength. So mobility is the key to success. And I have some limitations with my thoracic spine, and I'm working, on improving it. And every little increment that I can get makes my lifts better. And I can see that now. And every year you learn even more about what your limitations are and what things that you can improve. And then the weight goes up. So it's in constant amazement to me that at 55, I actually maybe lifted less than some of the weights that I'm able to lift now. And, I'm going to be 62 in July. So you can still improve even as you're getting older, and your lifts still can go up. I'm not saying you're PRing, every month. I'm just saying that you can get better, but you have to really be diligent. You have to really listen. You have to watch people that are amazing Olympic lifters. If that's my weakness is the bar. So I'm spending a lot of time with the barbell and trying to really embrace what people are saying. The gymnastics comes a little easier to me, and I love working on it, and that's not as daunting. So everyone has their thing that is kind of their weakness. And so, all of us need to kind of look at it and concentrate on it, embrace it, and see if you can have a few breakthroughs.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
What are your dietary habits like, Paige?
So recently, literally Christmas time, I switched over to intermittent fasting, and I am feeling amazing. So I train, like I said, early in the morning. So I'm doing that on 2 bottles of water or branched chain amino acid and a half a cup of black coffee. And I'll start eating at noon and eat until a window of 8 or 9 o'clock. And then I won't eat again until noon the next day. But I'll still eat 3 solid meals and snacks in between. And if anything, I think I've upped my calories a bit. I think I'm more 2,000 or 2,200 calories for me. And I've kind of switched over instead of more carbs than fat. I think I'm trying to push the fats and stay kind of neutral with my carbs. And I always eat as much protein as I can get in. Okay. So, so I have a big hot meal, usually at noon. And then I have another meal at 3 or 4. And then I have another meal at 7 or 8. And then in between then I have snacks, and I try to drink my 4 bottles of water and sometimes supplement with the branched chain amino acids like the Extend.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
And can you give us an example of a day, like what you eat?
Sure. So let's see. In the morning, I'd wake up and have like a half a cup of black coffee. And then I would literally like try to chug one whole bottle of water. Then I'd bring my Extend with me to the gym, and I'll drink or sip a little bit of that, put it in the fridge, do my workout, have the rest of it on the way to work, drink water from whenever I get to work, 9 to 12, water and more branched chain amino acid if I need it, if I'm feeling a little weak. But normally I can just drink more water and just 1 cup of black coffee, and then that'll take me till noon. Then I'll have like something like a Paleo Naturals meal, which we have Paleo Naturals that drops off to our gym, and everything's in the freezer. There's quite a few places now where you can order beautiful organic meals and you don't even have to prepare it yourself. It's just easier for me.
Sure.
And they're going to do a better job than me. That's their business. They're experts at it. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to have like kale and meatloaf and sweet potato maybe for lunch. I'm going to have nuts and seeds and maybe a little dried fruit in between. Then I'm going to have another meal, which might be like a sweet potato, chicken sausage, and some kind of zucchini or summer squash at like 3 or 4. So another hot meal.
Yep.
And, it all tastes like really good. I'm not like forcing like the food. I feel like I want to eat it. And then at night, I have like a fruit salad with like, vegetables and lots of fruit, mangoes, strawberries, blueberries, and another branched chain amino acid and more water.
Okay.
If I'm still feeling hungry, I might have like half a piece of Ezekiel bread with like almond butter.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like if I'm still hungry, like a half a banana, and then go to bed.
Okay.
So, is that enough food?
That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoy the food. I know sometimes people feel like, they want to like lose weight. I'm lucky. I'm only like 122 pounds, I think, like soaking wet. So I get to eat like whatever good, healthy food, when I want, and not be worried about like, I'm going to put on weight. If anything, I don't want to lose weight because then I lose on the barbell.
Sure.
I want to be able to lift more weight, so I need to like keep eating, a lot of food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great. That was awesome. What aspects of being a high level athlete are the most difficult for you?
I would say just the sacrifice. Like a lot of times, people will say, "Oh, I'm going out. I'm going to a microbrewery with friends, and we're gonna like go here and come with us and all of that." And it's like, I love all my friends and family, and mostly I hang out with people that are like-minded like me, but they go out and they have fun, and like they were out last night and everybody invited me, but like I have to stay home and rest. I can't do it. I mean, 1, they're younger than me, but 2, like I really feel like I love doing stuff during the day, and at nighttime I want to like try to settle down. I want to kind of take myself like down a notch instead of always being on the ceiling and amped up. That's not going to be good for my recovery. So in order to do that, like I need to like not have alcohol, which I'm not an alcohol person anyway, but like, when you're out with friends, they'll say just, 1 drink, 1 glass of wine. No, I'm not really interested. Like I'd rather have like a black coffee and a dessert if I'm going to splurge.
Yep.
So I think honestly, just trying to like settle and trying to like think about, you need to be quiet. You need to have downtime. You need to read. I love to like find things on Facebook or on Instagram that are really inspiring. Watch other CrossFitters, watch Olympic lifting, I really try to like look at things that make me want to work hard for the next day. And try to like settle down, like with like take a nap or like have your dog like snuggle up next to you and like sit for 2 hours and just be quiet. I think that's like something that people don't do enough, is take time and have like peace and just be quiet and just be content in being with themselves. So
Totally.
yeah.
And what level or what aspects of being a high level athlete are the most fun for you?
I would say like actually like it's thrilling when you don't know like where you're going to end up on the leaderboard. And like in 2017, I got all the way to the games and we didn't understand the rules. And I was disqualified after the bar fight workout, me and 4 other people. And it was because we didn't do our homework, but also the clean and jerk, 12 of them in 15 minutes. I only got 9. So I didn't know that I was going to be disqualified. So, you work that hard and you didn't really prepare. So you lost out. So the next year working super hard to get back and then like putting all that work on like into it and then like landing on number 13 in the world for 2018 and knowing that you were going to go, I mean, doing some of the qualifier workouts here and just feeling that elation of like the 80 pounds going over your head and seeing like your coach's face. And we just, you just feel like on top of the world. And from the online qualifier all the way till you get to the games, it's almost like you have to pinch yourself saying, oh my God, I'm going again, and being that thrilled and training and working hard for that, knowing that you're going to get there again. And that was your dream and that was your goal. Unbelievable. Best thing, most thrilling thing since like when I was in college running and finishing the Boston Marathon. I mean, it's that same thrill and then getting there and actually seeing the venue, meeting the other girls and loving the workouts and just loving the experience of it. And then hearing them announce that there weren't going to be any restrictions for any of the workout. You just had to be diligently working hard, for every workout, that there was no requirement. That was thrilling. Nice. So there's so many like highs to it, and you just get so pumped up if you're an athlete and loved it like for this long. I mean, 8 years of passion, that's crazy. And like kind of like keeping that diligent and disciplined for all those years. And, like I said, eating right and taking care of yourself that long to get to that point, but making it there, it's like you want to do somersaults. Like if I could do those backflip things that the gymnastics people did, that's how my heart and my brain feels. Like that happy. And when do people get to be that happy? Like I get to be that happy all the time, every time I come in here, and like trying to generate that energy to, all the members that are here and them feeling my excitement over CrossFit, and then them kind of gleaning off of like, what I feel and like getting their first toes to bar or getting their first muscle up. I mean, it's all the same. Like those things are the things that are the highs of CrossFit that we get to see and feel every day, whether it's my thing that I got to do or whether somebody else's. It's that same wonderful feeling that we get to exhibit every day. So I've had that for years. I've been fortunate, but 2018, getting there again after the low of being disqualified and saying that's not going to stop me and I can do it again. I want to make it again. I'm going to do everything I can and actually pulling it off. I mean, I'll never forget when I was at dinner and I said, Sonia, where am I now on the leaderboard? And she said 11th. And it was like the night, like that all the leaderboard was getting like, changed until like the next day we would know for sure officially. And I landed on 13. And I can't even tell you like how it feels to be 13th in the world. It's more than a privilege. It's amazing. I know, I get so emotional. But like that's like from the heart, like it's your whole heart and your whole being that has to give to it. And if it comes true, no feeling like it on earth. No feeling.
It's amazing, Paige.
It really is.
I love it. I love the emotion. It's fantastic.
I know it's corny as hell, but us 60-year-olds, we got nothing left. No hormones are working for us, so we have no control. So you know what I mean? It's like supposedly I have a little testosterone left, but it's from the heart. It's like you love it in fitness so much and helping people to get to their goal. And when you can get to your goal and then you like, okay, now I can exude that passion and like help other people like reach their goals and change their lives forever too. What else is there?
Not a lot.
Your health, I don't care what job you have. You saw it with Steve Jobs. In the end, like that guy was amazing and he was a genius. But what happened in the end? The health got to him. So like I would rather pump gas and feel this good and this healthy and get to the games than any job anyone could give me. Don't get me wrong. I love my job. I am so fortunate to be in design and get to work with the people that I work with. They are so talented. But like this health and feeling, like I get out of bed and I'm not even limping around. I'm a little stiff because we did 60 squat cleans in 10 minutes yesterday. I know the endurance is getting out of control. We got to talk to Coach Patrick about toning it down a little bit. But honestly, like if anyone I know can be 60 and feel this good, they would be thrilled. And like every day they like bounce out of bed and be like, okay, come on, Lexi, we're going for a walk and feel like this good and then get to come in here and do this. Like I have hit pay dirt. Honestly, like there couldn't be anything more that I want for any person, any human being living, because there isn't any feeling like it. Like if you have your health, sorry, but you've got the world by the balls. Honestly, I can't tell you to give everything and focus on your health. I would encourage every single person to do it. I don't care what else they're doing. Get your body moving, and like that can save your life and gain years, just absolute years on your life and for the betterment. Like I wish I could preach to everybody about, changing their lives, getting them off of a chair and just moving and enjoying feeling good. There's no reason for people to be eating the shit that they're eating, and doing the stuff that they're doing when they can feel amazing and healthy and have no chronic illnesses, no medication that they're on, and can move as fast and as good as somebody like me. And it's not just me. I see them. Like there's amazing people all like throughout all of the CrossFit gyms across the country. And I'm telling you, I'm so proud of each and every single person that's made that commitment, honestly, because they are on the path to the right thing. And we're going to be the ones that survive in the apocalypse. All the CrossFitters are going to be the only ones alive. And honestly, it is the cure for everything. It really is. There's so many happy people that I get to see and be with every day. And I wish the same for every single person. And if I can convert them all, I honestly would.
Fantastic.
I don't know. Sorry. But like, I just get so upset. I can't even go to Walmart. They're eating in the aisles. They can't even get to the register before they have to eat. And they're not even eating anything good. It's like, I don't eat anything in a box, nothing. And it's like everything that grows on the ground or in the trees, that's what you want to eat. It's so basic, and I wish I could teach everybody, but I can't reach everybody. And I'm a humble person, and I don't like to be a grandiose person on Instagram. I'm just the paginator, and I only have 343 followers. I wish I had more, because maybe they would adapt more of my lifestyle and feel better like me. But I just, I'm not that demonstrative like that. Like, this is big for me just to talk to you.
Well,
So.
I hope that more people start following you, because I think your message is fantastic. I'm going to definitely push the people towards you, Paige. So I hope you're ready for it.
That's fine. Bring them on.
Yeah.
I want people to feel good, and I see it every day, and I'm sure you do too.
Yep.
There is nothing more exciting than seeing somebody like, I have a guy, Norm Beauregard. He's 64 and a tax accountant, and he's brilliant. He had to do elements twice to even just understand the movements. And it's 7 years later, he is still here. He comes to my 7:30 class, and we call it AARP class. So what? We joke. And when it's overhead squats, we're like, oh, crap. But like, you know what? We do it. And he is so fit, and he could probably run circles around 40 and 50-year-olds, because he can do burpee box jump overs. He can do all of the things. And he pushes himself. He's in great shape, and I'm so proud of him. He's 64, and he comes and he shows up and he does the work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and he looks great for 64. If Norm can do it, then anyone can do it. He just set his mind to it. He committed, and then he sticks with it. And there's some days that are going to be better than others. And he swears and stuff sometimes, and his back squat and everything, but that makes it entertaining. And, and we just love our class. And, I think, and I've seen and I've witnessed that you could take anyone that's 15, or you could take someone that's 65, and you could bring them in here and you could teach them the ways, and they would feel 180 degrees better. But
absolutely,
I think you can't bring all the like the horse to the water and make them drink, that whole thing. You can't make everyone do that, but you could hope, and you could maybe hope that the example that you're setting would be enough inspiration for others.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Paige. I absolutely love it. I have one more question for you, because I know that you probably have to get back to training today.
Right.
When someone comes up and asks you, whether it's, a younger athlete or someone in the 60s, Paige, how do I work like you do, and how can I get to the CrossFit Games? Or I want to get to the CrossFit Games, because obviously some people just won't be able to do it. But when they ask you that question, how do you answer?
I would say that if you're prepared to really put in the work and really execute when you're here, and, depending on the athlete and the age and what they specifically need, everyone's built differently. So for most, it seems like the fitness part and the endurance, like that engine thing, is what people need the most to be developed. So you would need to get that person in front of someone that was an expert at coaching endurance. So like, we have on Saturdays a very specialized coach that just does endurance. I think he might stay up all week figuring out what our endurance work is going to be for this Saturday. And it's not like any other. And I think that you have to, each person's an individual, and that you would have to cater to that individual to get to that kind of high level. Part of it is, like, for me, I think, I've been doing athletics since I was 6. So for me, part of it is innate. And, I grew up like never missing a year. I've always been active. For other people that are just starting, it may be like they have to work on their fitness and then they have to work on their lifts another year. So it may take 2 or 3 years to do it. Yeah. But I think anyone could do it with the proper mindset. Ben Bergeron talks a lot about mindset and discipline, those 2 words. So you would have to take that to the nth degree to be able to do it. But I think overall, if there's one thing that most people need, it's usually like that fitness component of how do I get faster? How do I run and row more comfortably? How do I keep working like kettlebells, box jumps, wall balls? Can I do it like the Energizer Bunny and just keep on going? That takes a lot of lung capacity, a lot of working at 165 beats per minute and not feeling that uncomfortable. Right. Finding the third gear and still being able to stay on it. It's a talent and a thing that takes a lot of work. So it takes practice, and discipline, and also I think just grit and grind. You always have to be doing it. It's like you're never letting off that accelerator. You have to stay in it to win it, as they say. Yep. And you have to just be absolutely all in, 200% in, and willing to face walls and be humbled and to feel like shit sometimes too. Like literally, today we are going to walk with the barbell and it's going to be 130 pounds and we're going to walk with it outside and it's 90 degrees and you're going to walk with it and then, 200 meters with that, then you're going to put it down, then you're going to pick up a sandbag, then you're going to run with that, and then you're going to run with just yourself at 400. You know what I mean? Like really nasty, hardcore workouts, one on top of another. And like to show you that you can do anything, that someone hands you, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Paige, you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. I think I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Paige, this has been unbelievably fantastic. I have loved talking with you and I really appreciate your time. If people want to find out more about you or if there's anything that you want to promote or if you want to let them know how to get following you on your Instagram channel, please let us know how they can do that.
Yeah. I think that if they put in Paginator Nation, then they can get to me. I'm on Instagram. And like I said, I don't have a big, huge following, but I would love it. And I try to post a lot of inspirational things. And you'll see lots of games pictures. And you'll see family and Nantucket. And I try to be diverse, too, because I think being in nature and being happy with your own life is super important too, and keeping the people that you love close to you. So that's all on my Instagram. So I know you're, for meeting Emily, I can tell that you're like that too, but that, love, family, support, and then CrossFit. That's all you need. And a little protein. That's all you need. Oh. And Lurong. I'm the only supplement I'm on is the Lurong, and it's the deer antler. Have you ever the deer antler membrane? Maybe I've
heard of it. I haven't tried it.
Yeah. It's Lurong Essential, and that's the only thing that I do take. And I haven't grown any antlers yet, so I've been on it since about 2012. So I'm thinking it's pretty safe. But it is supposed to help you with anti-aging, recovery, and feeling strong and good. And it's worked for me. So I'm not messing with it. I'm keeping it right in my thing. And I order it. And you can go on Lurong Essential, and you can look it up and you can do your research.
Okay.
But it was something that was promoted at the games probably 6 or so years ago, and it's still, very much a part of my life. And we sell it here at our CrossFit gym. But I don't think I saw it last year there, and maybe it was there, but I didn't go to the booth. But I highly recommend it. It seems to work for us masters athletes.
Okay, cool.
So,
well, I'll make sure and put that in the show notes and check it
Yeah.
out myself, because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people take like CBD oil now and all kinds of supplements, but for me, I feel like food, like just real wholesome food. That's all you need.
Agreed. Absolutely.
You don't need all these extra things like as crutches, I don't think, for you. I think you just need to, be real and take really good care of yourself and eat real food.
Totally.
Like none of the food that's at Walmart. Sorry.
Totally.
So,
cool.
okay.
Well, Paige, don't hang up until at the end, but
Okay.
thank you so much for your time. And
Okay.
maybe we'll do this again sometime. This was really fun. So
Okay, good. We'll see where we are in 6 months, and maybe we can do it again.
absolutely. Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Get Better Project, hosted by Joe Bauer. If you'd like to leave us a podcast review, head over to the getbetterproject.com/iTunes. Now get going and take action on something that will make you better today.